Now, and thirdly, here's another argument. Worry is unbelieving. Worry is unbelieving. And there's two different things I want you to focus on. First of all, verse 30. He says, "For all these things the nations of the world eagerly seek, but your Father," that's the word I want you to meditate on. Your Father knows that you need these things. What kind of a father would know about the needs of his children, that they need a dinner, and would decide that he's going to do nothing to take care of their needs? Say you know somebody with small children, and you meet those children, and they have this worried look all over their face, and you say, "Well, what's the matter? Why are you worried?" "Well, I just don't know if Mom and Dad are going to give me dinner tonight." You know, we'd call the social services on people like that, wouldn't you? And report them for child abuse, that they're not willing to feed their children. What kind of a God is our Father? Is he a God that is faithful and is loving and is kind and is generous toward his children? Can he be trusted, right, to provide the needs of his children? Worry is unbelieving. Now, if we took just three of the attributes of God, let's just take three of them this morning. He's omnipotent, he's omniscient, and he is good. He's omnipotent. There's nothing that he can't do. He's omniscient. Nothing ever takes him by surprise. He knows about absolutely everything. Nothing comes into existence that he already hasn't anticipated and known about before. Okay? So he can do anything he wants. Nothing ever takes him by surprise. And he's good and loving and kind. So with just those three attributes alone to arm you, you ought to be able to believe that God is going to provide your needs. He's a good father that cares for you. Now, the second little phrase I wanted you to notice is in verse 28 at the very end. He says, "You men of little faith." Little faith worries. Great faith doesn't worry at all. If you worry, it's a sign that you don't have very much faith. Because if we really trusted the promise of God, we wouldn't worry. Jesus says in verse 31, "But seek his kingdom, and these things will be added to you." That's a promise. If we believe that promise, we wouldn't worry. Now here, of course, we're talking about food and clothing. Needs, not greeds, not wants, but the needs of our life, God has promised to take care of. So yeah, it's unbelieving. Now, faith is really making a judgment about God. What judgment are we making about God when we believe his word?
That he can be trusted?
Yes, he can be trusted. He's trustworthy. Unbelief is also making a judgment about God. God can't be trusted. That's why I'm worried. I can't trust God to provide for me. If we put it in bold claims like that, we see why it's sinful. We're actually insulting God's character. Because God has told us he's going to do it, and we're saying, I can't trust you to do what you've said. It reminds me of a statement over in 1 John chapter 5, verse 10. "The one who believes and the Son of God has the testimony in himself. The one who does not believe God has made him a liar, because he has not believed in the testimony that God has given concerning his Son." Do you and I really want to call God a liar? But when we worry, we're calling God a liar. Because God has said he's going to take care of our needs, and we're saying, my judgment is that you're not going to do that, so that's why I'm afraid about the future. So, Lord, you're really a liar. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. If I told you that in 1979, I played the 5-string banjo in a gospel bluegrass band called Gloryland, and we traveled the western United States, and at the end of that one-year stint, we cut an album, and you said, I don't think that's true. What you're basically doing is calling me a liar, because I just told you that's true. And you're insulting my integrity. That's what we do to God when we don't believe what he said. He's plainly told us here, hasn't he? I mean, it's There's nothing confusing about what he's saying. It makes perfect sense. Jesus wants us to know and he wants us to believe that God is a Father who will take care of our needs. And if we doubt him, if we worry about things, we're unbelieving and we're insulting his very character.